You connect to your VPN, open Netflix, and instantly get hit with a proxy error. You switch servers, same thing. Streaming platforms and restrictive firewalls have become extremely good at identifying VPN traffic, especially when a protocol leaves behind an obvious fingerprint. The protocol your VPN uses can affect whether your traffic blends in or gets flagged immediately. So today we're comparing Lightway and OpenVPN to see which one actually holds up better against modern detection systems. Most people never think about VPN protocols until Netflix blocks them or a firewall suddenly starts rejecting every server they try. VPN protocols are the connection methods that a VPN uses to move encrypted traffic across the internet. In most VPN apps, they're usually buried in the settings menu under names like OpenVPN, WireGuard, or Lightway. OpenVPN has been one of the industry standards for years and is supported by almost every major VPN provider. Lightway is newer. It was developed by ExpressVPN with a focus on faster connections, lighter performance, and better behavior on unstable or restricted networks. And quick disclosure here, our parent company is part of the same ownership group as ExpressVPN, but Lightway genuinely stands out when it comes to fast reconnects and handling unstable networks. But the reason protocols matter so much comes down to fingerprints. Every protocol creates recognizable traffic patterns during setup and connection. Some are easier for networks to identify than others. A simple way to picture it is this. OpenVPN is like walking through a security checkpoint carrying a giant metal briefcase covered in padlocks. It's secure, but it immediately attracts a bit of attention. Lightway is more like carrying a plain grocery bag. The contents are still protected, but from the outside, it blends in more naturally with normal traffic. And that difference becomes really important once streaming platforms, ISPs, or restrictive firewalls start actively looking for VPN traffic. One of the biggest technical differences between these protocols is size. OpenVPN has roughly 70,000 lines of code. Lightway has closer to 2,000. OpenVPN became popular because it's secure, stable, and supported almost everywhere. But after years of updates and added functionality, the protocol also became much larger and more complex. A larger codebase means more components to process during connection setup and more overhead during reconnects. Lightway was designed very differently. ExpressVPN built it to stay lightweight and reduce unnecessary complexity wherever possible. And it's that smaller footprint that helps Lightway establish connections very quickly, often in under a second under ideal conditions. You'll notice that most on unstable networks. If your phone switches from Wi-Fi to mobile data, or your connection briefly drops while traveling, Lightway usually reconnects much faster and with less interruption. OpenVPN can still perform well, but the connection process is heavier and typically takes longer to recover after interruptions. Now, before a VPN can send encrypted traffic, it first has to establish a secure connection with the server. And that setup process is called a handshake. OpenVPN's handshake has been widely used for years, and many streaming platforms, ISPs, and restrictive firewalls already recognize the pattern. Now, that does not mean that the encryption is weak. OpenVPN is still considered highly secure. The issue is recognizability. Lightway uses a much smaller and more modern connection process built around Wolf SSL, along with modern encryption standards like AES and ChaCha20. AES performs especially well on newer computers, while ChaCha20 is optimized for phones and lower power devices. Lightway also includes newer post-quantum protections through ML-KEM encryption, which is designed to prepare for future cryptographic threats. The main difference is how the connection behaves during setup. OpenVPN follows a very familiar connection pattern that many filtering systems have already spent years analyzing. Lightway's connection process is lighter, faster, and less consistent with older VPN traffic patterns, which can make it harder for filtering systems to identify immediately. The difference becomes much easier to notice on aggressive networks. Streaming platforms are a great example of this. Services like Netflix constantly monitor for VPN traffic. Sometimes they block the server IP itself. Other times they analyze how the connection behaves during setup and reconnects, and that's why changing servers does not always fix the proxy errors. And if Netflix is your main issue, we also made a separate video focused specifically on how to fix Netflix proxy errors and improving streaming reliability. OpenVPN reconnects more slowly when networks change or connections drop. Every reconnect creates another visible handshake that filtering systems can inspect. Lightway reconnects much faster and handles network switching more smoothly, and if your phone moves from hotel Wi-Fi to 5G, the connection usually recovers with less interruption. The gap here becomes even more noticeable in restrictive countries like Russia. Networks there use Deep Packet Inspection, or DPI, to identify VPN traffic at the network level. They do not need to decrypt the traffic, recognizing the connection pattern is often enough. And OpenVPN is one of the most recognizable VPN protocols in the entire world. When connections become unstable, the VPN tunnel has to rebuild itself repeatedly. Slower reconnects create more opportunities for restrictive networks to identify and interrupt the session. Lightway was designed specifically for unstable and mobile-heavy environments, which is why it generally performs better on hotel Wi-Fi, airport networks, public hotspots, and restrictive internet environments. That being said, no VPN protocol stays undetectable forever. But faster reconnect behavior and less recognizable traffic patterns gives filtering systems less information to work with during those critical connection moments. Just a few years ago, avoiding VPN blocks was mostly about finding a server IP that had not yet been flagged. But that's no longer how filtering systems work. Modern streaming platforms and restrictive networks now analyze protocol behavior, connecting timing and traffic patterns alongside the IP address itself. And that shift changed what makes a VPN protocol effective. OpenVPN is still one of the most trusted protocols for security and compatibility, and it remains widely used across the industry. But newer protocols like Lightway were designed for an internet where VPN fingerprinting has become much more aggressive. The protocol is no longer just handling encryption in the background. It also affects how easily the connection gets identified, interrupted, or filtered before you even finish connecting. And that is really the core difference between OpenVPN and Lightway. OpenVPN is still secure, reliable, and supported almost everywhere. For many users, it still works perfectly well. But VPN blocking systems have changed over the years. Streaming platforms, restrictive networks, and DPI filtering systems now pay much closer attention to protocol behavior during connection setup and reconnects. And Lightway was specifically built for that environment. Its lightweight design and modern architecture make it much better suited for streaming platforms, unstable networks, and environments where VPN traffic is filtered aggressively. So if your VPN keeps getting blocked, interrupted, or stuck on proxy errors, then switching protocols can sometimes make a bigger difference than switching servers. We've linked to our full technical comparison between Lightway and OpenVPN in the description down below if you want a deeper breakdown on the technology behind both protocols. And if you want to test Lightway for yourself, we've also included our ExpressVPN link down below. We update that regularly with the best available pricing, and most plans currently include up to 4 extra months for free for new users. Also, if you made it to the end of this video, comment protocol switch and I'll reply with one lesser known trick that VPN providers use to reduce detection on streaming platforms and restrictive networks. But as always, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.